This 12th century text is a vachana, a form of free verse poetry used by the philosopher Basavana to deliver precise spiritual instructions. The opening lines recount the greatest hits of the Ramayana. It describes Rama killing Vali, building the bridge across the sea, and defeating the 10-headed Ravana with a single arrow. It notes the leveling of Lanka and the crowning of Vibhishana. But the narrative suddenly breaks. It demands, "Show me that Rama." Then it warns the listener not to trust in a worldly existence that leads only to a dried-up stream. Basavana is building a specific tension here. He uses the cultural weight of the epic to force a confrontation between the listener's memory of the past and their immediate reality. By opening with the climax of the Ramayana, the poem establishes a familiar landscape of heroism and divine triumph. When the poem follows this with an unanswerable demand for a physical manifestation of that myth, it renders the entire epic inaccessible. Rama remains a story, while the practitioner remains in the present. In Kannada, the term for a dried-up stream is barudore. It serves as a metaphor for searching for fulfillment in myths and rituals that no longer hold the water of actual experience. We see this consistent logic in Basavana's other work, like the vachana Torea Miva Anagalira, where he argues that bathing in a physical river cannot provide internal purity. The poem's objective is to redirect the practitioner's gaze. It strips away the comfort of ancient stories to focus entirely on immediate internal realization. To understand how this redirection works, we can look at the Shatstala, a 6-stage model for spiritual progression in the Virashaiva tradition. This poem functions within the second stage, the Maheshvara Stala. Here, a practitioner begins detaching from external dependencies. Specifically, it addresses Samsara Heya Stala, a substage requiring the rejection of worldly attachments as a source of truth. Scholar H. Tipparudra Swami interprets these lines as a warning that conventional life is often a barren stream that yields no lasting fruit. He connects the dried-up stream to the spiritual exhaustion that comes from chasing external ideals while the actual time of one's life drains away. When mapped to this framework, the poem is revealed as a technical manual for moving the practitioner from stage 1 to stage 2. The rejection of these myths carried a different weight in 12th century Karnataka, where the landscape itself told the story of the Ramayana. This is the Hampi region, historically identified as Kishkinda. The myths of the epic are physically integrated into this terrain. Local sites like Sugriva Cave and Sita Sarovar serve as physical anchors for the mythology, making Rama's stories a part of the local geography. Basavana uses this familiarity. Dismissing the mythological Rama while standing where the myth is venerated, he makes the subversion immediate for his audience. This local context maximizes the impact. It forces the practitioner to look past the holy sites and rocks to find something within themselves. The poem's mention of the crowning of Vibhishana refers to Rama Raja, the traditional concept of a perfect state ruled from the top down by a divine figure. Basavana proposed a different model, Kalyana Raja. This was a decentralized framework where social stability was maintained through individual ethical responsibility rather than a divine monarch. This was built on the Sapta Sutras, a set of ethical mandates like do not steal, do not kill, and do not lie that shifted the burden of morality to the individual. The movement replaced the passive hope for a mythological utopia with the requirement for active internal moral work. After the revolution in Kalyana, there was a struggle over how to preserve these poems as the movement became institutionalized. Historians look for proxipta, or interpolations, where later institutional figures added lines to original vachanas to make them more orthodox. In the 14th century, the Siddhanta Shikhamani attempted to bring the movement closer to traditional Sanskritized traditions, often obscuring the original radical intent. This specific poem is considered apraxipta, uninterpolated. It represents a pure baseline of the original Desi tradition. It serves as historical evidence of the early movement's uncompromised rejection of external religious structures. Modern neurotheology provides a way to model this shift from external mythic worship to internal ethical discipline. When we remove the historical and technical frameworks, we return to the final resolution of the poem. The demand to show me that Rama was a way to break the listener's fixation on the external past. The mythological epics and worldly pursuits are identified as the dried-up streams, paths that no longer provide spiritual sustenance. The poem's final instruction is to surrender to the Creator, Kudala Sangamaya. In this text, Kudala Sangamaya is not an external God to be sought, but the internal locus where the individual achieves clarity. The work of the practitioner is to leave the epic behind, step out of the empty riverbed, and find realization within the immediate present.